In this video, I want to talk about what Warren Buffett is really doing. And this is in response to one of quite a few nasty comments I got on my channel. It's always somewhat entertaining, slightly offensive, but I've gotten a hard skin. So let me tell you, this is in response to a recent comment I got that someone told me that Warren Buffett suggests passive index investing. And yes, he does. It works great for a lot of people that want to be passive investors. But why don't we look at what Warren Buffett is doing and let's compare that to passive index investing, because I think it's really important sometimes to not just buy into the mainstream and what everybody else is suggesting and recommending, and look beyond that if you choose to do something a little bit differently. Because if we stay stuck in what everybody else is doing and thinking we're just sort of following the herd mentality, we're not really becoming all that we can become, right? So let's look at what Warren Buffett is doing, because it really doesn't anywhere near equate to passive index investing. And I get that, there needs to be simple recommendations for people to invest their money. But passive index investing can be really dangerous if somebody loads up, for example, right before a bear market and they're going to retire in 5 years. So that can be really risky. For example, like in 1999 or like in 2006, early 2007. So it's not a given that this is going to, well, first of all, passive investing in the index is not going to build wealth exceptionally, right? Gradually over time, over several decades, if that money is compounded, then yes, it can build wealth. It can be a great strategy. I'm ready for some nasty comments about that, right? But it doesn't always work. I've been investing for almost 40 years, and here I talk about my journey with that, my adventure, and creating multiple income streams for the past 15 years. I write about it at retirecertain.com. But what I really want to share with you is what Warren Buffett really is doing, right? In response to this comment that I got on my channel here. So Warren Buffett, he takes really large positions in undervalued companies. Okay, so let's look at that. So first of all, he's a value investor, right? I'm not sure exactly what his position is, but the guy that's been by his side for all these years is Charlie Munger, who is just a fantastic analyst. And Warren Buffett gives so much credit to Charlie Munger for finding these undervalued investments, right? And that's one of my favorite things that I talk about here a lot at my channel, and also I write about it a lot. I think undervalued investments are super important because they help you build wealth, right? When you buy something, no matter what it is, a car, a boat, whatever it is, if you buy it at a high valuation, you're not going to be able to sell it for more than you paid for it. Whereas if you buy a car and you buy it undervalued, under market value, then you'll be able to sell it. I actually sold a car after I drove it for almost 2 years. I bought it undervalued. And so it's the same with investments, but people, it's easy to lose sight of that. I don't want to say people because I'm right here with you. I've done this. I felt the pain of making mistakes. I've learned as I've gone. So it's easy to forget that investing is like anything else. So when you buy things that are undervalued or cheap, then you have a much greater opportunity to build wealth off of the bottom, especially when they're quality assets, right? That sort of goes without saying. Okay, so that's number one, or number two things really, is that Buffett takes huge positions in companies, which is completely different from buying an index fund, because it's made up of 500, for example, the S&P 500, 500 different companies. You own tiny little bits. He takes positions that are very concentrated and large in companies that are undervalued, okay? So, and that's based on analysis by Charlie Munger. The next thing that I want to mention about Warren Buffett's strategy versus passive index investing is that Buffett, he takes a huge position, then he's able to influence the management of the company. He's able to increase the profitability at that company. Is that going to happen with buying an S&P 500 index fund? I don't think so, right? So he has created wealth by doing this. So he's really, I think of Warren Buffett as more of a rainmaker. He comes in when a company is undervalued for some reason and he makes changes. Now, he's great for writing it out and long-term investing. That is his strategy, that does have in common with long-term S&P 500 index passive index investing. They're both long term, but otherwise the strategies are just really, really different. Okay, so Warren Buffett makes changes in the company, increases the profitability of the company, and is able to influence management. He'll even buy an entire company, I read in Wikipedia. He takes huge positions, right? Instead of teeny little positions that we take when we buy index funds. I'm not anti-index funds. I've invested in index funds. I'm not against index funds. I just want to address that this comment that Warren Buffett, recommends buying passive index funds. Okay, the next thing I want to mention about Warren Buffett's strategy is that, let me look at my notes here so I don't forget anything. Undervalued secure. Motley Fool, I read in Motley Fool that in the third quarter-ish of 2019, for example, Warren Buffett bought Occidental Petroleum, okay? Well, Occidental Petroleum at that time was selling at a PE ratio of around, I believe it was around 8. It was significantly under the PE ratio of the S&P 500, the overall market. At that time, the overall market had a PE ratio of over 20. And so compare that to the PE ratio of Occidental Petroleum of under, I believe it was around 8, a little over 8. Not only that, the yield that Occidental Petroleum had was over 8%, and the S&P 500 around that same time frame was yielding about, not even 2%, right? So 1.8, something like that, 1.85. So look at the difference in that and think about what an incredible yield that is. I'm not suggesting that you go buy Occidental Petroleum. I don't make any recommendations. I'm just saying that for comparison purposes, that is, a huge difference between buying an index fund like the S&P 500 or something like that, and buying a concentrated position in a very high yielding, undervalued security that Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger have done some serious analysis on, and I'm sure all the other team there at Berkshire Hathaway. Now, the last point I want to make is, speaking of Berkshire Hathaway, and I actually did a post about this, in I believe it was the second quarter, it was early 2019, the Berkshire Hathaway filing revealed that Berkshire Hathaway had an unusually high level of cash. And so that indicates, or it really demonstrates, that Warren Buffett will only buy assets when he can find things that are lower valuations, that he perceives as undervalued, or it's not even a perception. The numbers show that it's undervalued. That's what I want to share with you. Thanks for the comment, though, about what Warren Buffett does. Keep those comments coming, and appreciate your watching. If you like my channel, subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos, and click the thumbs up button to let me know that you liked the video if you did, in fact, like it. Thanks for watching.